Federal judge under fire for bucking a DOJ order to drop the charges against Michael Flynn, now getting legal help of his own. According to the Washington Post, Emmett Sullivan is hiring high-powered attorney Beth Wilkinson to defend his decision. She notably represented Justice Kavanaugh during his confirmation hearings. Here to react, Georgia GOP Congressman and House Judiciary Committee member Doug Collins. Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning, Griff. How are you?
I'm just puzzled because here you had Flynn's attorney files a writ of mandamus, which has a very high bar, but yet a court of appeals puts this June 1st deadline on Judge Sullivan to explain his rationale, and the court invited the DOJ to weigh in. What do you make of this, and what is DOJ doing?
Well, it's really unprecedented at this point in many ways. You're having a judge, and even according to General Flynn's attorneys, and Sidney Powell's done a great job on this, he's wanting to play every position. He wants to play the defense attorney, the prosecutor. He wants to play the judge. He wants to bring in his own hearings here. This is something that's very concerning. It's no shock to me that he finally had to go get his own outside counsel, because he's just operating in areas right here that, frankly, he needs to explain. And I think the Court of Appeals is saying this is something wrong here. We need to look at it. And DOJ has acted properly. This just happens all the time in cases. Why is he not doing this? I think he's trying to play politics here.
Well, but why does he need an attorney, and why can't the DOJ ultimately weigh in all this and get their will? They're not going to put a prosecutor there. Judge Sullivan's essentially going to prosecute Michael Flynn in the absence of prosecutors.
That's exactly why he's getting an attorney, because I think we're delving into areas here where the question is a conflict of interest. You have a judge who's implicated himself in a case now in which he is still sitting as the final arbiter of what General Flynn's, he's saying is the decision is. So I think when you look at it from that perspective, you have a judge who is operating outside, frankly, the parameters of a normal judge in this kind of case. So as it goes forward and there's more action and taken to force his hand, he's looking at his own legal counsel, I guess, to make sure that he's doing what he thinks he should be doing. But right now it's just wrong. General Flynn needs to be released. This was an attack. It is an attack on our system. And it's at this point it needs to be done away with so we can move on. And Emmett Sullivan doesn't need to continue to have this.
Congressman, as a pastor and Air Force Reserve chaplain, what do you make of President Trump declaring churches essential? Do you believe ultimately that, constitutionally speaking, the president can defend it and override governors who try and stop it?
Well, I think President Trump is standing for what is right. I mean, it's time to open back up our churches. It's time to open back up our country. Do so in a safe and proper way. But you're just getting into the very fundamental fact of how we're stopping in many of these states from people exercising their fundamental right of religious expression and freedom. We can do it safely. The president has taken a bold step forward to say, look, these are essential services. There is a mind, body, and spirit effect here. And someone who has served in the military and as a chaplain, it is understood. You have your physical, you have your mental, and you have your spiritual. And having all of those protected and all those brought forth in our constitutional rights here is something we need to have. And I'm proud of him for doing that.
All right, Congressman Collins, have a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Griff. Take care.